What's up, Capstone family? This is Ed coming at you on this Friday, the 9th of July. Yesterday, I made my 46th rotation around the sun. Is that how people put it? And you'll see behind me my office is in shambles. The team, we celebrate birthdays here, make it a big thing. It's so much fun here at Capstone. So, yeah, they did for me like we did for them. And my office is filled with balloons. And fortunately, I don't have to clean all this up by myself, which would suck because they're everywhere. But it was a nice touch. The Capstone team was fun and definitely spoiled me. Which was a lot of fun. Hey, but I wanted to reach out a couple things this week. This is another week of, hey, what's happening in the market? The sales market is very, very, very hot right now, as it has been. We're not seeing it slow down. We are seeing between $300,000 and $400,000 homes. We're seeing 70% of them are going of offers that are closing are going over asking. And, when we're pricing houses, for those of you that have sold, you know this. For those that don't, I almost feel that we're already overpricing everything, but we're getting offers grossly over that even. There's a strategy we have for that that's been helpful, and a couple things that I wanted to touch on. We're working with a few clients right now that are transitioning out of selling their primary residences and, moving into something new. One of the things that, talking to one of those clients this morning, she's doing her best. Thank you, Heather, for, talking through that with us. But she's, working through getting her house ready to sell. And, it's super important in this market because when people are pushing the price, when buyers are pushing the price as high as they can go, the last thing they want to worry about is having to paint inside when they probably have extended themselves as far as humanly possible to just get in the house themselves. So a little bit of paint goes a long way. All the touch-up stuff that we usually will ask you to do as a seller, and on the side of the property management stuff, it's the same thing. We're turning them almost the same way, not doing major flips, but just doing the turns enough to make sure that, the buyer really finds that the value in that home, and we can push that price. On the rental side, same type of thing. Rents are still continuing to go up, and it's an amazing market to be in. A couple of articles that I posted on our Facebook page today. If you have access to the Phoenix Business Journal, it's really the only resource that I use for information. I don't look at the Business Journal for other areas because, it doesn't really affect us as much out here. However, I do look at the Phoenix Business Journal regularly, and it's where I get a lot of my information about what's happening in the market as a whole. So not just the real estate side of things, but hey, where are jobs coming from? How is that looking? What parts of the valley are getting new looks from different types of new employers that might be out there, and industry that's coming to town? Like, where's it going? How's it getting here? And what types of things are working underneath the scenes to make those things happen? We've been talking about Taiwan Semiconductor and the semiconductor industry really, booming out here in the forthcoming years, and it's bigger than what most people expect. And one thing that I learned this week from an article that I found on the Business Journal is that for every one semiconductor job that's created, there are 4 to 5 other jobs that are created to support that one role. So it's like this is just bringing in so many jobs. It's going to be great. This week also there was also a list that was put out of the top, and it's one of those rating systems. I don't know which one it is, but I guess Phoenix has finally made it into the top 10. Why is this important? On that top 10 list, arguably, Phoenix was the only city that had, price values that the average was, less than, 400,000, right? We're right about 400 now. And you would have asked me that a couple of years ago, we were in the high twos. So it's like, oh my gosh, this market's going through the roof. However, it's not an unsustainable growth when you look at the fact that we've got this economy that's just on fire, and we're finally making it to top 10 lists as one of the top 10 places to be in the country. We're the only one on the list that seems somewhat affordable. So I think at the end of the day, we're just growing up. We've been talking about that for a little bit. It just feels like Phoenix is really growing up. People are really finding it. And I don't anticipate that we're going to see some huge slide or price shift or anything like that, because this is super sustainable. In addition, the companies and the institutional buyers and those that are still continuing to buy in this market and feel like there's potential moving forward. I mean, they're smarter than me, right? They're smarter than us. So it's like they've done their homework, and I'd expect that they know what's going on, and the values will only continue to support what they intend to do with those properties as well, which is to hold them long term. Let's see. Did want to bring up another point as well. So when we're selling houses, I get the question a lot about dual representation in this model, in this market. And arguably, I don't work on the dual representation side unless we're supporting a tenant to buy the property. And the reason for that is because every buyer that we are selling a home to, we are asking them to spend more than honestly than the houses will even appraise for. And if we can work with another agent, we can usually encourage that agent to have those conversations and set the expectations with their buyer that I personally, like, we don't feel comfortable doing. I think at the end of the day, I represent you, I represent the owner. If we represented a buyer as well, I'd have to compromise one side or the other, and we don't do that. I mean, I can't represent you and push the price as much as we are if I'm telling the buyer that they're overpaying. And even when I do, getting them to the finish line is very, very, very challenging, because they know they're overpaying. They know what that looks like, and at the end of the day, I've got to make sure that I'm covering your back, and that I can get it done as strong, as heavily as possible, as good as possible for you. So when it comes to selling your property, in the past, and we still do in our contracts, we write it up that, hey, if we represent both parties, but at the end of the day, I know that I can retail that thing and get another agent to bring us something even better than what any buyer would come to me and say that they would willing to pay in most situations. I haven't had one yet, but we're talking buyers, talking to buyers all the time, and we're saying, hey, this is what the property is listed at, and they say, okay, great, that sounds good. And I go, no, that's not what we're selling it for, though, because I have to put this thing on the market. And when I get this thing on the market, this is what the market's going to do, and this is what is going to happen. The stats on the soldonphoenix.com, on the MLS market stats, the thing I talk about all the time, that's where I came up with that 70% number, the $300,000 to $400,000 homes, what they're selling for, and that 70% of those closed properties had offers over asking price. Like, that's where I come up with that stuff. So we push buyers and sellers to that page so that they realize what's really happening in this market. It's just crazy. I know I've kind of been rambling. There's a lot going on this week. It was a short week, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, there is so much happening behind the scenes here at Capstone. For every offer, every property that we're putting on the market, we're probably having 50 calls for each one of those properties. So our phones are off the hook. If I can catch you on the phone, awesome. If there's something we can do to help you, if your property's coming up for rent and you're looking at options, let us know. Let's have those conversations early on so we can set the appropriate expectations for pricing and with your tenant, and just figure all those things out to make sure that it comes out a win-win, so we know that the tenant is moving out when they say they're going to, and we can do what we need to get your property sold if that's what you intend to do. Otherwise, rents are still super, super strong, stronger than they've been in ever. So if there's something that you need to evaluate on that side, let us know. We'll get you the comps and make sure that your plan is put together and is airtight. Cool. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Again, I send these out once a week just to make sure that you know what's happening behind the scenes. I will add a couple of links to this one as well, to the documents, the articles that I referenced. I hope they help. And if there's something else that you'd like to see, please let me know. Thanks.